Welcome back. It is always a good day when I wake up, stretch a little bit, give thanks, take a nice mindful walk through the neighborhood with my puppy, and smell everything. We have had so much rain in California, and of course, it just makes everything that smell, that petrichor, when you go outside and you smell the ground after a good hard rain. So my puppy is just in heaven. I'm so happy you're here today. The show is
Thank you.
growing like leaps and bounds, and I have a wonderful guest for you. Her name is Jan Warner. I'll introduce Jan in just a second. First, I just want to thank all the different countries that are tuning into the next room. United States, of course, Canada, right behind the United States as far as downloads and listening. My third largest country, and huge shout out to all my people down under in Australia. Big listenership in Australia. I have listeners in the UK, Netherlands, New Zealand, which is new, Vietnam, which is brand spanking new, and Italy. So thank you to everyone that's finding the show, downloading the show, sharing the show. Thank you for the great ratings I'm getting. It's really meaningful because the show, Death to Me is dinner conversation. And I like to cover everything from soup to nuts about death because I don't fear it. I feel that the more that we embrace and talk about it, the more that we enjoy the life that we're living now. So thank you for being here on The Next Room. My guest is, oh my goodness, I cannot believe we haven't met in person, but we're going to rectify that this year. I just know it. It's Jan Warner. Jan is here. I found Jan through Facebook. I saw this amazing Facebook page. It's called Grief Speaks Out. And I'm like, wow, this page is extraordinary. And it had a couple million followers. But I knew that it was somebody behind the page that was authentic, someone that cared, someone that was personally, not just a bot, programming this thing. I knew there was a human being, and I reached out and I said, would you come on my podcast? Little teeny tiny, just getting started, the Next Room podcast. And she was like, sure, I'll come on the show. And that was the start of our friendship. So welcome back, Jan Warner from Grief Speaks Out. And she has a fabulous book called Grief Day by Day. I gift it to everyone on the planet that is going through grief. And aren't we all? So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
so glad you're here. I just, for those that may not know you, because, the show is growing and I'm getting new listeners, just give me a thumbnail sketch of why you started Grief Speaks Out. Let's tell the story about Artie.
My husband died over 13 years ago, and I say it like that because I can't believe it's been that long. That's
Wow.
not my normal voice. It's also February 3rd is my birthday, which is also my wedding anniversary, which even after 13 years is sort of a mixed up day. And he was handsome and charming and lovely. And I thought because he was older than I was, that when he died, I would be sad and I would miss him. I did not know that I would feel totally annihilated and want to end my life to be with him and have to. I felt like you said, I know that it's been raining where you are. In some places, there's been flooding. I know that sometimes people's houses literally get blown to bits in storms. And that's how I felt, that what I thought was my life and my identity was just laying around me in ruins. And once I decided that, yes, I was going to live, he wasn't going to come get me. Obviously, I'm still here, that I had to figure out how to do it. And that was how my work began, because I didn't know how to be me. We called each other our raison d'etre, our reason for being. I didn't know who I was anymore. And he's still my raison d'etre. But had I taken my life 13 years ago, first of all, I never would have met you, but I've had so many magical experiences, and I feel so humbled that I've been able to help so many people. I'm actually leaving out an important part, which was he was a recovering alcoholic,
Mm.
an addict that dedicated his life to other addicts and alcoholics. So when I got to the point where my brain fog cleared just a little bit, and I said, I'm a waste of space, which I wasn't, but I felt like it. What can I do to honor him? How can I have a purpose? Because I know so many grieving people feel like their purpose is gone. I went, wait a minute, I can make myself available to grieving people the way he did to other addicts and alcoholics, and never, ever imagined that you can buy my book all over the world, that you can have people, and Grief Speaks Out connects people from Peru and Australia and the United States and Kenya and almost any country you can imagine, Algeria, it doesn't matter who you are. So that's kind of magic that I never knew would happen.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I mean, first of all, to have millions of people gathered in a safe space to be able to share, and you open it up too. So the first of the month, you always do this post where you say their names. Mm-hmm. Who are you missing? Post a picture if you want. And it's very rare. A lot of pages with a lot of people on it are on lockdown. They don't allow individuals to post. So tell me about that. Like, was it a conscious decision as you were doing Grief Speaks Out? Because it grew beyond anything that you could possibly have fathomed. I mean, here you're parking your grief one minute, and now you've got millions of people that are seeking solace through your Facebook page.
It's a consciously defended decision, because there are people that come to Grief Speaks Out that would like it to be a private group. But my model is that it has to be available to anybody who needs it. If I can't block anybody unless they do something inappropriate. So if somebody doesn't want to join a group, if somebody can't figure out how to use Facebook, if somebody doesn't want to post, they're very shy, but they want to look at it, I feel that it has to be an open book. There are 7 posts a day, an open page. There are 7 posts a day. And if I ask a question that's sensitive, like, do you feel like taking your life? What's the craziest thing you ever did while you were grieving? I remind people that they're on Facebook and that it's an open page. And I do now check it either once or twice a day, because there are scammers on Predators, and I do block them. So the only rule that you can break is not sharing your own experience, because I don't think anybody has the right to tell anybody else that what they believe, how they feel, or how they act is wrong, unless I haven't had this, but if somebody threatens somebody else's life, I deal with that. But whatever you're doing when you're grieving, people sometimes say to me, is that normal? I don't know. There is no normal. Is what I'm doing serving the kind of life I want to live? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And maybe I can change it, maybe I can't. So I do with a iron hand. That's why it's a safe space. So for example, if somebody posts something and somebody else says, well, you better get over it, that comment gets deleted. For example, somebody today, I just saw a post that said, you better get help. And I deleted it, because you can say, I'm really glad I got help. You can say, faith has really helped me. And without Jesus or Allah or whoever, that's fine. But I have Wiccan people, I have pagan people, I have Hindus, I have all atheists, I have people of all religions, I have people of all cultures, because it's all over the world. So you have to respect what somebody else was saying.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It's really remarkable that, Artie, AA is a beautiful program. I happen to be very familiar with it. My husband as well is a friend of Bill's. And so it's helped so many people. And I love that you needed to find a purpose after Artie left in the physical sense. And now here you are, and it's really just amazing that all these people have come together, and you're allowing us to, like, give you a question. Like, you'll say, someone will send you a question, and you always put it in their voice and say, Bob said, ask this question. And then you'll say, has that ever happened to you? And then you will post your feelings on it, and what it meant for you. And then it kind of opens up the door to this wonderful, I don't know, it is a safe place. I mean, it's shocking that there's 2.5 million people and it feels like this beautiful, safe place. So good for
And
you
that's
for doing
the,
that.
sorry, that's the, I think what it's there for is people often say they read it and they feel like they're not crazy, or they realize it's not me. We have
Right.
this sense that, or I have this sense, I just said share my own experience. I have this sense often that I'm locked in my little box and I'm acting in a totally strange way. And then if I post it on a site where somebody is having similar feelings, all of a sudden I realize, no, actually, my feelings are really common. Like a lot of times people will say, I don't understand why nobody else is grieving, but I am for this person. And my answer is always, you don't know. They just might be one of the people that's afraid to talk about it or has decided
Exactly.
not to talk about it. So
Absolutely.
I'm the opposite of what happens in so many societies is I just talk about my feelings. I
Right.
still, oddly enough, I still have
Right.
feelings. You know, my
Yeah.
grief doesn't go away after 13 years. Do I live
No,
a life? Yeah. Do I have bad days? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's so random and it is so personal, and everyone grieves differently. And I would encourage everyone to embrace that and allow people the grace to grieve the way that they need to. It doesn't go away. I just described it the other day. It's like this comfortable old sweater that you just sort of, some
Right.
days it's heavier than others. And some days it's joyous, you funny memories and laughter and singing to the person on their birthday. And then other days it's just like, bam, right in your face. And you just don't even know if you can go on. So it's difficult. Well, I love that you've done that. Let's talk about the book. It's really, really beautiful. And I have gifted it to
Thank
so many people. It's Grief Day by Day. It has sold a lot of copies for being someone first time out, publishing a book. It's done really, really well, and it continues to sell well. It's sort of one of those, it's like a workbook almost, where you can pick it up anywhere and open it up and find what you're looking for. And everyone that I've given it to has said, oh my God, it helped me so much. Um, any thoughts about writing more? Because it's such a great book, Jan.
you. I, I'm laughing because I decided, since I love living in the past, one of the things I don't like is when somebody says, well, you have to stay in the present. You should get over it and move on
Right,
with your
right.
life. That's a mental disorder called amnesia. My past is who I am. It informs my present. So, should I have a life in the moment? Yes. But should I forget my past? I'm not a, you can let go if you want. People do, but I'm a holder on. I like to hold on. My husband's with me all the time. So, um, where well, she asked me a question. The answer to the question why I laughed is I decided that a nice justification for living in the past is that I'm writing a memoir. I want to say I'm going to, or I'm trying, but I read something where I'm supposed to just say I am
I
writing
am.
a memoir.
Yes. Good.
So when I finish it, I was going to say if I finish it, language is really important. When I
I know.
finish it, then I'll see if somebody will publish it. But
Okay.
Grief Day by Day came to me because of Grief Speaks Out. A publisher contacted me, asked me to write it. And one of my favorite, it always touches my heart because people will call it a true companion or say how much it helped them. But somebody wrote that I hate reading and I hate books, but I love your book. And it's
Mm,
because, as you said, it's set up, it's divided into 52 chapters, 52 subjects, a quote for every day, an exercise for every week. And the topics range from the real pain of grief, despair, loneliness, confusion, to what I call resting points like joy, self care, hope. And so people have started the book and read it all the way through and done all the exercises. Other people just open the book randomly. And some people are saying, boy, I'm feeling today like I'm the only one in the world who, and fill in the blank. And so they look for that topic and they read about that topic. And because of the quotes, you not only get what I have to say about my own experience, you get the words of some really amazing writers and poets and just psychologists, like, for example, this is really important, and I'm going to stick it in here. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross did not believe that grief had 5 orderly stages. She put those stages in for people that were dying, and you can find lots of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross quotes about grief being disorderly and messy and questioning whether you accept or deny, or if you're going to go through anger or any of the stages over and over again, even in the same day. So people that tell you, well, there are these 5 stages of grief and you should proceed through them orderly, that's not true.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, people like to tell other people what to do and,
Yes.
what to wear and how to behave. And, it's just so much easier if we allow people to flow in the way that they choose to flow. There's no right or wrong here, especially with grief. It's just such a unique individual journey, very personal. Why don't you promote? I'm very honored by the fact that you choose not to, but you don't like promote the fact that you have this great book. Most people I know are selling, selling, selling. I mean, I have different friends that have programs and different courses and everything, and they're constantly in your face about, buy my product or sign up for this. And here you have 2.5 million people, and you rarely post that you have this great book. Why? What's the theory there?
Well, that's about the page. I mean, I do promote the book, and the book has a life of its own. For example, somebody who gives books to prisoners in Chicago emailed me and asked me for books.
Love it.
And I donated it. I don't know how she heard of me. Somebody in a really remote part of Canada said she found it in her library. I don't know how it got there. But Grief Speaks Out, you'll also notice that my picture is not on the page very often. And I share my personal feelings, but it's not Jan Warner's page.
Right.
Because we're all grieving together. My book is on my cover photo, and it is there, but I don't have the page to make money. I don't have the page to sell the book. I have the page to address what people are feeling when they're grieving. It's that simple. It's not about me. I'm just the person that does it. And sometimes people are curious. And so I do, I accept friend requests if somebody is on my personal page, but I also caution them that my personal page is very snarky and political. And I use words that some people don't like. But my Grief Speaks Out, I bring my kinder, gentler self. I just invented a new word.
There you go.
I kind of like it. Kinder, gentler. See, if you make a mistake, it's okay. To Grief Speaks Out. So that's what I demand everybody else do. If you want to be critical of people in your private life, that's fine. You want to be political in your private life, or you want to promote something personal on your private life, that's fine.
Right.
I'm like that. I'm by no means a perfect person, but on Grief Speaks Out, we're vulnerable. I mean, it hurts. Even after 13 years, it hurts. Every once in a while, somebody will say something to me. Somebody was talking about being in a play about the Warsaw Ghetto, and that she really enjoyed it because she could feel what the people felt that went through that. And I went, no, you didn't. So it's like, we don't know how somebody else feels. So yeah, it's just complicated. You want vulnerable people to feel safe, not to feel endangered.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Let's talk about honoring Artie and how you go about honoring Artie after 13 years. I mean, I know you do it through the generosity and checking your ego and doing Grief Speaks Out, but are there other personal things that you do to honor him and his life?
I think it's because it's kind of amusing to me that we've become this international love story, because I've compared us to cymbals in the orchestra. They make a wonderful noise because we fought a lot. We were both damaged people. We both hurt. but I find a lot of people do this, that it's really hard to find a purpose. And one way to do that is to honor somebody you love. So somebody whose child dies of cancer does something on cancer research, or somebody whose child I know took his own life, has a page called Jeremiah's Hope for Kindness, and she works against bullying all the time. So I honor, I used to call him, he grew up in a place where everybody had nicknames. So he called me Panache, and I called him Dazzle. So I want to live up to being Panache. So I honor him by, I also have a letter where he said that he really admired how every time I fell down, I got up again, and how I was always helping people. Because the truth is, I say if, I'm hoping it's when, if we're together again, I so hope that's true. I want him to be proud of me. I want him to see the struggle. I don't feel like he's angry at me if I'm just staying in bed crying. I don't feel like he's demanding of me to behave in a certain way. I don't feel like if I ask him for help, I'm holding him back, because I think time and space is different where he is. But I know that I honor him by everything I do, and also by continuing his work. And I think he has enough of an ego even now that he knows that people all around the world knows who he is because of me. Oh, and sometimes people ask how to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. I always put on Facebook for people to do a random act of kindness to keep a smile going. So I've had people all over the world do everything from helping a friend to doing something for themselves to feeding a stray cat. It's just an amazing thing to, there's such cruelty and suffering in the world. It's so easy to add in small acts of kindness. So he's a vehicle for good, even when, I was going to say he's dead, but he's so alive, like so many of our loved ones are. I do like the word, I say dead because it's final and it makes me realize, yes, he's dead. But I like the word transition better. Hopefully he's somewhere where he's just really proud that what was so important to him didn't die with him, that I honor him by continuing it.
I love that. I'm taking little notes as you're speaking, and one of the chapters in your forthcoming memoir, Jan Warner, is going to be Panache and Dazzle. That's a chapter. It's and it's a great title. I'm going to keep after you on this because I personally would love to read the story. I think that you've led an incredibly interesting life too, just what I know of you, and we're these new friends, but each layer that I peel back and find out more about you, I really appreciate what you're here to do. And, make no mistake, there is a deeper purpose. I think everyone has a purpose. It's life is quite a journey, and you just have to figure it out. I told you need to behave. My puppy is in the studio with me, and because her dad's not here, I let her come out in the studio today, but she's not behaving like she normally would. So she needs to go lay down. Go lay down, please. There you go. This is live radio, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm lucky I heard puppy. Otherwise, in the middle of the interview, I'd be laying down and taking a nap. No,
I know. I have a little pillow down underneath here, and I do crawl down there and curl up with her.
There's opportunities everywhere. So I'll just, because you said I create an interesting life because I'm easily bored, and I call it, people like it, I call it decorating the waiting room.
Yeah.
Because I hope that sometime I'll be with my husband, but it's not my time yet. So how do I decorate the waiting room? But it can be as small as you're purchasing something and you say to the person, you have really nice hair, or I like your earrings, and they feel good. Or I was given the opportunity to go to Ukraine at the end of last year, and here are people truly suffering that I got more hugs in 10 days than I've gotten in the past 10 years. They are so full of spirit. And they said everybody I met said the way the war has changed them is, instead of worrying about the future, they love life every second. And this lovely 24-year-old man was telling me how he had this huge meeting with 100 people and the power went out, and he's trying to think about what to do. So they all got candles. And he said, he blushed a little bit and he laughed. He said, it was a little romantic. But that's their attitude, is like, so I think, I'm being negative and feeling sorry for myself about something. And it's like, here he is in the middle of a war, trying to deal with doing an important meeting in the dark, and he calls it romantic. So it's like, here's our choices, and I've made my life such that I can have those kind of adventures.
I love that. I love that you went
And I'm
over there.
ordinary. I mean, I'm not,
Yeah.
I always say that I'm not like,
Right.
there are times when I just lay in bed and I go, I can't move. Why am I, but it's like, I have to also look for things to do so that people don't suffer. I just want to be whatever the antithesis to suffering is. So, yeah.
I love it. Jan Warner is my guest today. Grief Speaks Out Facebook page. Please
Sorry,
join us. No, I love that. I love that you shared your journey.
Passionate there.
And I love that you say you're ordinary. We're all ordinary. I mean, no one soul is above another. And I think that that's really a key factor. And kindness, oh my gosh, never enough. Just the small things of opening a door for someone, or carrying someone's groceries, or I don't know, there's just a million things. When I see an elderly person, and I'm getting there, but when I see someone that's, in their 80s or 90s, I just stop, and I'm like, how can I love this person? A lot of elderly people are lonely and don't have other people to care for them or smile at them or even just have a little chat. I was just saw an article. Where is it? Is it in Switzerland? It's somewhere. I'll have to find the article and post it, but maybe it was Denmark. Anyway, this company decided that they would put a grocery lane for if you want to have a chat. And it's kind of like for the elderly that are moving a little bit slower and want to like visit with someone as they're checking out their groceries. And I thought, what a cool concept, instead of hurry, 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 here's this slow down and, say hello to somebody. And I thought I'd be great in that as a checker in that line. I'd chat with everybody.
And I'd be in the other line because I live in New York City, and I want the line where you can curse.
Oh, that's so funny. That's
so
great.
It would be nice to separate us out, because the people that want to chat should be able to chat to each other, and the people that just want to
hurry up,
angry at the whole world and just want to vent, they should get their line so nobody gets insulted or feels bad. That would be
funny.
Really
that's funny. That's
you'd have to decide. How am I feeling today? Do I want to curse? Do I want to chat? Do I want to be funny?
That's fun. I love that.
A crying line. We should have a crying line where you just
crying. Where you can just get a hug, and somebody gives you a tissue and says, it's okay, I understand. Right. That's good.
You say, no, you don't. And then they go, no, go stand on the cursing line.
Exactly. Well, we are at the end of the show. Any final thoughts? Jan Warner's my guest. It's Grief Speaks Out, the Facebook page, and Grief Day by Day. It is a comfortable, lovely book. And certainly if you have a friend or you need this for yourself, I would encourage you. And I'll put the link to Amazon for Grief Day by Day. Any final thoughts?
My final thought is, just because I went through kind of a difficult thing that I don't have time to explain, is you can't see around corners. So when you feel like things are really painful and you can't handle it one more second, I just ask people to hang on and keep looking. Mosaics are made out of broken pieces that turn into beautiful art. I would have missed so much if I had died 13 years ago. I would have missed this interview if I had died last week. So I'm not going to tell you it gets better. My experience is it gentles down. Some people are released, but and you have to notice if something good happens to me, I have to notice it. I have to say, wait a minute, I'm talking about how everything is sad. What about that bird I saw? What about that person I talked to? And I have to pay. Oh, here's the line. Your loved one's life needs to matter more than their death. How insulting it would be. And it took me 4 years to get to this. My husband lived such a rich life. If I made his dying more important than his living, I would really be doing a disservice to both of us. So it sounds a little preachy, but I get to be preachy.
I don't think it's
72, so
yeah, I
there you
don't
go.
think it sounds preachy at all. I my takeaway is you can't see around the corner. I love that. It gentles down, which I have never heard. I love that. And your loved one's life needs to matter more than their death. Words to live
Gentles
by.
Down was told me by a wonderful woman whose husband and then later only child died.
Wow.
And she was quite and she was full of love. She was
Hmm.
quite a guiding light.
Wow.
Celeste.
I love that. Thank you, Jan. Jan Warner from Grief Speaks Out and Grief Day by Day on the next room. I'm so grateful to have you here today, and thank you for listening to the show and sharing
And
it.
respect the pain. Don't think I'm like one of those Pollyanna people. I'm not.
Oh,
I
oh,
have
you,
tremendous respect and honor for the pain and for
yeah,
people that are full of pain and manage to breathe, because sometimes breathing is enough.
yeah. Boy, Jan, I would never ever classify you as a Pollyanna.
That's true. If anybody knows what a Pollyanna is, yes,
Oh,
it's,
yeah. Just
don't give me
Google it.
positive quote. It's like I don't
Yes.
need positive quotes. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's me, always looking for the pony in a room full of horse crap. So
Right.
thanks
I'm
so
always
much
looking for
for,
the horse crap in the room full of ponies.
see, there you go.
There you
I
go.
love it. Well, thank you again for joining me on the next room.
You're welcome.
I'll be back in a couple weeks with another wonderful guest. Boy, it's just been it's just the people that are coming on the show. It's been really, really fortifying for me. I love doing this show, and I love to talk about each and every aspect of death, because to me, death is dinner conversation. Thanks again for tuning in.